Hey, what is going on, you guys? Welcome to One of Each, the Dumb and Hungry podcast, where we talk about our food adventures and our favorite food groups. I'm Angelo, also known as the Dumb and Hungry.
And I'm Mychall.
Hey, Mychall, how you doing?
I'm okay. We just did this yesterday, but
Wait a minute.
doing all right.
Not as far as our listeners are concerned. We do this
Oh,
on
is
a
that what it
very
is?
timed schedule. Okay,
We're professionals out here, huh?
got to make sure we do this in a somewhat organized fashion. All right, we're not just doing this all loosey goosey and just haphazardly.
Suspension of disbelief is what I don't think there's enough of that out there.
Well, since I saw you like a million years ago, okay, what has been going on since I last saw you?
Honestly, not too much. I went to Porto's for lunch today, so that was nice.
Okay,
I haven't been there in a long since pre-pandemic. Now that I think about it, the
no
one in
kidding.
Glenville.
Well, what did you get from there?
I got a pastry for dessert, but also I got what is it? The medianoche sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little confused though, because I thought I ordered. I guess I ordered just a sandwich, but I remember I thought it comes with plantain chips and something else. So I don't know if I had to order it as a combo or
Something
something.
else?
It's been a while. Yeah, I don't remember what
Well,
else was it with.
I don't know. I just remember the plantains. I mean,
Okay.
is
Yeah,
it
I really wanted plantain chips. Honestly, I was sad when I didn't
let's
see
take
them.
a look here. The median noche, the Cuban
Yes.
classic. Okay, well, again, it just smelled. But again, I would definitely remember it comes with the plantain chips.
Yeah,
In a
I was
plastic
bummed.
container. It's like, yeah, that's like half the meal.
Sure.
Interesting.
It's still good though. It was still delicious. I love Porto sandwiches, man.
Yeah, I'm up there with you. I probably get the same thing.
Okay.
And then a dozen cheese rolls and this and that. So
All in one sitting. I see.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, true Filipino.
Wait.
Filipinos love the cheese
Filipino
rolls. I don't
or
know
just,
why.
oh yeah. I mean, when we had family that came over like some time ago, like they took some to go. I mean, they took some on the
Yeah.
way home or whatever.
And,
It's like,
and it's always just the cheese rolls, maybe the potato balls,
uh-huh.
but mostly cheese rolls, and I don't know why.
Yeah. I
I mean, it's good, I will agree, but it's not like the best. I wouldn't say it's the best thing on the menu.
Well, I think we take it for granted, a spoiled, I don't know.
LA natives, I don't know.
Exactly. Not everyone gets, a nice baked cheese roll, nice puffy like pastry with nice soft cheese or whatever. It's okay. Well,
Damn,
I'm
I
sorry
should've
that you
got
didn't
some.
get a full meal experience, or we'll ask. We'll reach out to Portos and see.
Oh yeah, figure out how to do it. What's going on? The internet. What's
has
going on with your menu?
changed, So that's fine.
And get
But-
no response back.
Okay. And they got better things to do, but I'm glad you went. Always a good time. I
Hell yeah.
imagine you went to Glendale?
Yes, it was Glendale one.
Yeah, they have that new one in Northridge now.
That's right,
I mean,
but that's far.
I know, no, I'm just saying that they have yet another location.
Yeah, I remember when the West Covina one was the new one.
Yeah, and that's huge. I mean, that is
Yes.
big.
It's massive.
Yeah. When I was working my previous job, sometimes I'd make a small detour to the Downey location and pick up something there.
Nice.
But sadly, again, there's nothing on the west side or the South Bay, of that fair. The closest
Not
one
yet.
at this point would be Buena Vista, Buena Park.
Okay, let's say wait.
Wait a minute, that's Burbank, okay. But Buena Park. But
Okay.
oh well, that's fine. We'll have to. We'll still go out there when we can. It's still good, reliable.
Definitely.
Yeah, so good. Good. I myself, I was reminded of a place I had visited some time ago in Long Beach called Speak Cheesy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Speak Cheesy is a pizza spot, and they started off as a kind of a van out of like doing catering and stuff.
Oh,
And they kind of had this
yeah,
old
them.
school. I think it was like a VW style van, but just like an old van that they kind of retrofitted with like their gear, and it was like a little party van. They made it, and that it was pretty cool. I never had the chance to visit it, during that time, but they have a shop now in Long Beach, and yeah, it was pretty good slice with like the topping had like spicy salami and like kind of this hot honey on there too. So so it made it a little sweet, but it was like overall kind of hot, which was interesting. But it was a really good like cheesy saucy pizza slice. So definitely going to go back and try more. But
yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah. But speaking of more food, thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Feels like ages since you'd last done this, but we're back again. And we're talking about our food adventures. Again, some of these local spots and a little bit into the pop-up scene with good food that we've come across and with good people as well. So we're glad to be back, and we are kind of sticking with one of an important food group with burgers. We've talked about burgers previously in our previous episode with Goldburger and also Burgers Never Say Die. But we are sticking on that because honestly, it's a very important food group. I mean, it's got all the essentials there. You got your carbs, you got your protein, got a little fiber in there. You put some vegetable. I don't know.
But this is Tripp we're talking about.
Okay, all right. Well, there's a little bit, right? Depending on how you dress it up, but that's fun. All right. So we're kind of on a little burger kick here, but I feel that to what you just kind of alluded to here, Tripp Burger is what we're talking about today. This is still on the smash burger kind of scene. We're seeing a lot of this come up, especially from Burgers Never Say Die. Even though again they weren't the first ever, whether even in LA, but I think they put it on the map. They brought it to light, and so we're seeing a lot of these. And not to say that places like Tripp and others followed because of that, but again, it's just kind of the sequence. I think the series of things, of events that we have observed. It's like, now that I've seen this, where else can I go, right?
Yeah. They definitely started something, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and Tripp definitely added to the scene here in LA for the better. So I'm excited to talk about this, and I hope you are too. So let me just put on something here while we chat a little bit about what Tripp is and all that. Shout out to Paul from he has this page on Instagram called One Goat Media. He's like photographer, videographer, and I think he doesn't get enough attention now as he should. He's a really good photographer, whether with food or otherwise. But I've met him a few times, and he's a cool guy. So just showing this reel that he put together here. But we talk about smash burgers, so the technique of putting the meat on the grill and then using a spatula or some sort of device to smoosh it down, if you will. That's the technical term, smooshing. So
I believe it's called an implement.
Yes, you utilize an implement as well. But by doing that, you create a nice quick cook, a good sear, a lot of flavor in a relatively short amount of time. So they're quick to make. So the way that we see Tripp kind of approach this is he does that, but he has one side that's kind of more smooshed than the other side, and that kind of creates a crispy edge that you can enjoy on one side, and then kind of a more just regular smash on the other. And that's just kind of the way he's done it, and that works for him. And I'm not complaining. There's nothing to complain about that. We can take a look here. It's kind of hard to see for the viewers, but just go ahead and look at kind of what he offers up here these days. It really couldn't be a simpler menu, to be honest. You're talking about a cheeseburger, and you can get it with one patty, two, three, or four. And we'll go into a little bit about, the four stack, and that introduction. But you can see here, I think what sets him apart a little bit, not necessarily its simplicity, but with that also the kind of blend, I guess, that he uses for his patties. And he always takes pride to use this custom blend of beef and pork. And the pork, is basically kind of this bacony, smokiness that adds to the flavor of the burger. So in addition to the beef, you get some pork. And so he has, there's a custom blend there, and that he is really proud of, and has really worked out for him very well, and has added, again, just another great selection to the burger scene. And in addition to that, you have the Oklahoma fried onion burger, which is, again, not a new thing. It's a, very well-known style in the Midwest. In fact, it's in the name, in Oklahoma. But this was certainly an adage from something from the great burger scholar George Motes. We see that name again. And we probably see that in the vein of smash burgers. So, America's, burger historian, and preserving the history of burgers in America. Anyway, we see that here, thinly sliced, sweet onions, with that blend of meat smashed and cooked until, you get that crispy edge and, kind of seared off. So put on a potato bun. So that's probably the other kind of element there. With Goldburger, we saw, white plushy bun. But now we see this use of a potato bun. And I kind of mentioned before, like, I don't think I really realized or noticed, the use of a potato bun versus a white bun or whatever until making my way around here. But I guess there's potato bread, that makes sense, have potato bread, but I guess in a bun form was still a little different for me. Mm-hmm. But from what I understood too, certain brand of potato buns were really not easy to come by early on. They'd have to, get it ordered from East Coast, and logistically getting it over here was a little bit of a challenge. I think these days, it's easier now. I think it's more accessible from what I understand, which is cool. But I think that was something initially that kind of set you apart. Just, you had that little extra something, with your burger. So, one other thing here, I think with Tripp Burger is really, I guess, respecting the tradition of a burger, and its roots, and the burger as we know it today, some of them going, millions of toppings, all decked out, layers high, all sorts of condiments and creative things, which I think is cool. Again, everyone has their own take and approach, and how they want to style and dress up their burger. But the simplicity and offering of this of Tripp Burgers is again really a testament to what a burger really has come from. As far as its history, meat, cheese, bun, and an onion, some onion, and but really notably the absence of ketchup. Okay, you will not find ketchup on a Tripp burger, at least by default. it's not that it's not available, but it's up to you to defile life.
Wow.
Just kidding.
The disrespect of the
Yeah,
blend.
exactly. I don't know. What are your thoughts really on, kind of the toppings on a burger, Mychall? I mean,
personally, we've talked about it before. I do like my onions. I like, at the very least, whatever kind, grilled, whole, caramelized, pickled. I completely forgot pickled last time. But I do defer to how the maker wants it to be eaten. In like specifically like with Tripp's case, I never added anything on it, and it was damn good even without anything else on it. Personally, and I don't know, maybe it's because of the addition of the pork in his meat, but it was just so good. You didn't need any extra flavor.
Yeah, I think that was his goal. I think that blend and just the use of meat and cheese was enough, to speak for itself as a burger. Obviously you have the fried onion smash in there, but I think this in this case, less is more. So
favorites for sure.
Yeah,
the Tripp burger.
Good. Yeah, I kind of agree here. We're making reference to the him and the who or whatever, but we wanted to just wanted to properly mention that the man behind Tripp Burger is Mark Tripp himself. He's the owner, the main kind of the smasher of things, all good things here, and he came from a different background, I think, a different industry, and there's just kind of some points in his life that kind of led him to start doing this as his kind of livelihood and his main gig. And I think it really paid off, and people paid attention and they caught on, and worked out really in his favor. So good for him. Behind that, every man is probably someone that supports the man behind the whole thing. And so shout out to Emma, who's Tripp's wife, and I think that's she provides a lot of support. We've seen her like kind of in the early days helping out, and even in like kind of big events too. But Emma's a pretty cool person, and these days Mark keeps the operation pretty simple, and usually it's him and maybe one other person manning the grill, and we'll kind of maybe see a little bit of these as we go along. But these days he's got his man Brock on the grill, and Brock is from what I understood is the brother of Kara, who is the person behind this spot Calabama, which makes these like breakfast sandwiches. And I don't know if you've seen it or if you heard of it. Like she does this thing like from her house or her apartment where she like lowers down the food from her apartment like in a bucket or whatever.
That's super super cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting take. Anyway, her brother is Brock, and he's the one who's kind of manning the grill there.
Definitely took the social distancing seriously there.
Yeah. And we'll see Calabama come up a little later actually, but also I don't think Tripp Burger would be where they are without some of the other cool crew. We talked about Emma obviously, but also shout out to Jordan, the GOAT, really. If he's listening to this, if you're listening to this, Jordan, he's the GOAT, and he his time now is really all at LA Ale Works these days. If you have a chance, support the brewery and give him a shout out. I don't know, but he's a cool guy too. I think that you can kind of hang with and just talk about good stuff with. So, and then briefly we shout out to our guy Will here too. Will was also at the helping out Mark for a while, taking the orders and helping out. But I think he had bigger plans and things ahead of him. So hopefully he's doing well. But we've seen a lot of good people help out and bring Mark to where he is today. So that's pretty cool. You'll also see like some of his stuff here, his branding, his logos, his kind of artwork on for him, and that's created kind of by a buddy of his, a local LA artist called ZLA. So we'll have this stuff in our descriptions and show notes and stuff, but you can check these guys out. But that's kind of the people behind Tripp Burger. And just as a small kind of not to prevent any misnomers, it's Tripp Burger as opposed to Tripp's Burger. So it's not a possessive name there. It's just the name of what it is. I know I've talked too long about this, but
Mark Tripp's Burger, so
it is Tripp's Burger.
It comes out. That comes out.
Sure, it is his burgers, but as to far as where you can find Tripp Burgers, you can find them at probably what they refer to as the corner, and that's the corner is on the west side on Palms and Sepulveda. So if ever you see that, they'll announce that they'll have that schedule on their Instagram and places like that. But you can find them most likely there. But they also have a small circuit of breweries that they hit up, and so check out the schedule when they're there. But most likely you'll find them at Palms and Sepulveda, and that's at a little near little shopping area where the Trader Joe's is. There's like a Coffee Bean there. And you'll just find them there on the street, on the sidewalk, and they're doing their thing. And it's really it's nice when you find your niche and your kind of spot where you can, do your business and people know where you are. There've been a lot of other spots there that set up or have set up there. Places like AM Smash, they make a good breakfast sandwich. Also other spots like Eastside Cheesecakes and Chocolate in the Chip. And so you'll see people kind of rotating through there, but pretty reliably you'll see Mark and his setup over there. So, but yeah, that's kind of the little overview there of these guys. But let me bring up the stuff right here. They started back in doing these pop-ups like in 2019 or so, and I think again there's an article here by LA Taco that you can check out as to how they got started and what kind of led them to what he's doing now. And like I said, he came from a different industry and a different area altogether, but he'd always kind of done like these backyard cooks, and people kind of encouraged him to kind of jump into this scene to make burgers for people. And so it brings me to this pick here, and this was like kind of one of the first visits, I think, not the first visit I had. That was still on the west side, but towards Venice. This was on 6th and Rose, but this is one of my first bouts of Tripp Burger. And you can see again the meat and the cheese, and I had to dress it up here with the onion and the pickle, and I think there's mustard in there, but I think I had asked, how do you prepare this? So again, that's kind of the early introduction of like, yeah, there's no ketchup here, or if you do it, it's on your own, but yeah, no, there's no need.
There will be judgment.
But you can see there in the background, Emma's actually right there, blurred out in
Trademark
the background.
hat.
But yeah, so she was there early on. But yeah, there was also at that time, there was a period of time when they were doing these cookies too, and we saw some of the cookies, later on as well, and they're pretty good. So something I think he said he'd been just kind of doing for the longest time, and please bring them back if you have them. But yeah, that's that was one of the early kind of forays in there. One other thing I wanted to mention is, unlike our stories with like Burgers Never Say Die and Goldburger and some of the others we will see, Mark right now has just kind of decided to stay in this kind of pop-up life, if you will. I'm sure he's had the opportunity, either, finding opportunity or being offered to open up, his own storefront of whatever kind, but it sounds like he is kind of happy where, or what he's doing, being there at the corner on the sidewalk, with the people, just kind of being able to interact, directly, in a somewhat personal way. And, it's, even though the pop-up life, from what I've seen, can be a little laborious, you got to set up and break down your equipment and, every time, but, he's kind of got his system down. I think he got like these custom, carts, these kind of, for his grill and everything, like that's like on wheels, like these nice sturdy, like heavy duty wheels that he can just kind of roll into his van and out. Like he has these ramps that he set up and he can like load and unload easily. So it's like, it's just easy for like, setting up and all that. So, as for now, you'll kind of see him doing that for a while. So, I don't know about a storefront. It could happen, but who's to say? But I think we'll enjoy the way it is right now. So, yeah. But these days, like I said, be there on the sidewalk. But speaking of the sidewalk and being on there at Palms and Sepulveda, again, we see a character that we've talked about before. It's like a story or something. It's not fictional or nothing, but we see the return of or another encounter really of George Motes. So here's we'll see one here of the two of them, and I guess they have this friendship that goes back like pretty far back. Mark was telling me that kind of befriended George, and they kind of been buddies for a long time. So whenever George is in town, then they'll be sure to meet up and do stuff like this, and cook with each other, and yeah, it's a pretty awesome kind of thing to see. So this was, again, we had seen George before Mychall, actually, with Burgers Never Say Die, as far back there, yes. Right? But now we kind of see this scene here. And it's pretty cool because, again, these guys are like really good friends. So I kind of get to see them, interact in a more, in kind of more substantial way, I guess. But yeah, that's them. I have this picture too. I want to apologize for the use of ketchup in this picture, but I couldn't resist. It's just, I don't know. Just one of those,
what a waste.
It's moments of weakness. So what a waste. Okay.
Throw it in the trash.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you ruined it.
I know, exactly. It reminded me from the earlier picture. This guy here on the far left, he was like one of the early guys that I had seen and met. I think his name was Noah. I can't remember what he's up to, but I hope he's doing all right. But yeah, I was helping out Mark early on, so he was here too. But yeah, it's interesting to see again people that we've seen come and gone. So I wanted to kind of move on to something here as well about this picture here. This is important because this is
yes, it is
the introduction of the four stack. Again, for those, the four stack is exactly what you think it is. it's a stack of 4 patties. It's like, you know, kind of your In-N-Out 4x4, but, you know, on steroids, and
So
just
good.
turned up like really a lot.
The
So
definitive Tripp burger,
I think
honestly.
so. Really, the only way it should be.
Yeah, it should be the
That's the
only thing on the menu.
standard, and then everything else is like downgraded.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
man,
man.
but yeah, I think when I heard about this and when he like announced, I was like, yeah, I was really interested and I wanted to try this, and so that was like an early foray there. So that was pretty cool. And then we had the, you know, these pictures too, just of the fourth. It's pretty massive, like, but it
Yeah.
was surprisingly easy to eat.
I mean, it disappears real quick, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, like just the fleshy potato bun, it just kind of gives away. You know, there's obviously you have different styles of burger, right? But then, you know, one important part is like how the bun kind of holds the whole
Hmm.
burger together, which is literally its job. But, you know, different styles of bun give way to different textures and whatever. But, you know, the potato bun does a good job of holding up the burger, even with a 4-stack. And it just it doesn't make it any difficult to just give way to chew, you know, getting that bite into the patties, to all 4 layers of of that blend. So yeah, that was, I feel like, pretty important to mention.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah, but you
Especially
know,
with
as
us.
we, you know, move along again, he's, as we've seen, you know, Mark kind of find his footing, you know, at on the sidewalk, and, you know, on the way, you know, over there, and he's, you know, we've also seen him kind of move around, and particularly at a brewery we wanted to talk about, at Boomtown Brewery in downtown, and I surprisingly don't remember having too many, or finding too many. Not that I don't, but just one particular pick I can, you know, bring up here.
Oh my God.
Um, but we had a lot of, I think a lot of our uh, encounters, I guess, and our visits together would be at Boomtown. Again, I'm telling you, like, all these breweries, man, like, you just, you know, all these breweries, but like, you gotta, I'm just here for the food, you know, mostly. But yeah,
Scene,
we would, yeah.
scene change.
Oh, I'll get to it. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
Well,
I wanted to say that we would, this would be like the times when like the friend group would come out, right?
mhm.
And
Yeah.
we would, even kind of later at night, we would still be able to still manage to meet up. We're all pretty relatively close, you know, because it was in downtown, kind of
Yeah, it
very
was
central. Yeah,
exactly.
like near the Arts District, you know, that kind of
Wednesday
thing.
nights, that's when they were
Wednesday
there.
nights, yes, you remember that?
Yeah. I remember being there weekly for that.
I know.
For at least a month, I was there every week.
Solid, right? Just
Yeah.
we'd come
So
out,
good.
yeah, you know, um, yeah. That those are the days like when Mark was on the grill. We
Hmm.
had Will, you know, kind of taking the orders. Sometimes you might see Emma as well,
Yeah.
coming from work or whatever. It was an interesting scene. So it was kind of funny. We would have our food, right? But then for me, you know, I take a burger. Most people would chase their food with like alcohol or, you know, a drink.
Yeah.
As for us, or for me, I would chase my burger with another burger, uh,
Of course.
which I think is a fair approach. Nothing wrong with that, right?
Look, remember what we learned with BNSD. Always order two.
Oh, yes, exactly. I think that mantra really lives
It
on.
carried on for
It did.
sure.
Yeah, no, that really
I remember
influenced
getting
us.
more than one 4-stack a night.
Yeah, I know. We tried to like outdo ourselves, you know,
Yeah, it was
every
great.
time.
Ah, man, I haven't had a Tripp burgers in so long.
Yeah.
I need it.
Well, we'll have to get you back out there. But
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
again, make their way around the breweries and kind of that circuit. But yeah, maybe someday we'll get them back at Boomtown. I'm not sure, but they have their own breweries that they found their niche in, so that's good. Yeah, I'd also meet up. Shout out to Racked Up Vern and his crew that we'd meet up also, and we'd share good burger and with his people, with his lady Carla, his buddy Gallo, and Jose as well. Shout out to Jose. So it was just those were good days, I think. Just days to enjoy, I think. And it was like you had nice outdoor seating, just nice and a cool like evening. Yeah.
And there's always hella parking.
Yeah, lots of parking. Absolutely. So, which is
an easy place to meet
like
up.
Not typical for downtown, right? So,
yeah.
So that was pretty cool. There was something here. Let me see. Yeah, I wanted to kind of jump on here to kind of an event that we talked about in the previous Goldberg episode, but is important to bring up here too, because they were involved in the same event. So we're talking about here the LA Food and Wine Festival back in in 2019, and that was a pretty interesting event. That as I remember, again, it was an event that was hosted by Alvin Kailan, which is a pretty well-known chef, at least in the in the community. He's an LA born and raised kind of guy. He's the guy behind Egg Slut. He had his time in New York, and did some cool stuff there, and now he's back here in LA, and you'll know him again behind Egg Slut and also with Amboy. So, but he had hosted this event along with Food and Wine, and it was a showcase of different burger spots in LA, but more notably there was a kind of competitive aspect as well. Everyone would go around, people who attended, they would go around, try different burgers, and they also like kind of cast their vote on what their favorite burger is. You didn't come along for this, right? I'm trying to remember.
No, I wasn't there.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
That's too bad. Would have been a good time. But it was interesting. So this was kind of a pretty big deal, I think, to showcase, spots like Tripp, like Goldberger, other local spots, especially considering the fact that, Mark had only been doing this, for several months, I believe. And yet he's gotten the kind of attention already that he has to be invited to this kind of pretty large event. The event was cool too because, we discussed this before, but, there were, we had like these celebrity judges. In addition to Alvin as host, we had like Adam Richman from Man vs. Food. We had Tiffany Thiessen, also known, among many things, but most notably is Kelly Kapowski from Saved by the Bell.
Right.
It was worth mentioning again. Okay. And Seth Rogen, because of course you have someone, as cool as him too. So the three of them as judges was a pretty interesting mix, but it made for a pretty fun night, I'd say. A lot of different, interactions and personalities going there. So, but I want to thank Mark again, partly because, I had gotten the tickets for this event, and I was trying to find my way around, when I arrived. It was over there in Santa Monica, at the Barker Hangar, and I was trying to find my way around, and I found an entrance, but it was like, I think it was only meant for certain people or certain whatever, but he saw me from across the way. He recognized me, thank God, and he said, "Hey, no, he's good. Come, bring him through." So I got to, enter the space, the event a little earlier, I think, than the rest of them. So that was pretty cool. So thanks, Mark. But yeah, outside here, he was, they were just prepping, they were cooking, just these simple single cheeseburgers. He had a whole crew with him, including, Emma and his daughter Day as well, and just a whole group of people. But yeah, this was a very interesting event for everyone that was there. So like I said, people were going around. They were trying all the burgers. No doubt, Mark was kind of getting he was getting his word kind of, across, and people were noticing and coming by. He had no shortage, of attention or anything like that. So it was, it's a pretty fun night. Now, let's see. I'll bring up something here. From what I remember, even though that evening, the people spoke, obviously, and they cast their votes, and they voted for Goldberger as the people's choice, which was awesome. And of course, this is, I don't think this is like a real heated competition, right? I think this was a more like kind of just fun, just sportsman kind of thing. Obviously, it spoke to volumes of that, but I think what spoke just as much was the outcome for Mark, because he got the attention of the judges, and they were filming a segment, and they'd been preparing something here that was put out later on through First We Feast, and so they featured Mark and a couple other spots, and the judges tried 3 different burgers, and they all discussed and deliberated, and the judge's choice was Mark. Tripp Burger was there, and so that spoke definitely volumes on its own. So that this video here is available. That link will be available there too. So yeah, I thought that was pretty awesome to kind of see that. Have them try that. It was you can see here just kind of a little bit on the burger, them trying it, and they know that the bacon is there, that smokiness, and I think it eventually captured the attention of Thiessen there, and so I think she would end up getting a hold of them, and they'd be catering and things like that. So good for Mark. I think that was pretty awesome for them. So that was a pretty fun night. So yeah, LA Food and Wine, man. That's a pretty big deal. Yeah. So as we move along, again, Mark is, getting the attention and still making his way around and moving around the area and popping up and things like that. So we have places from breweries again to the sidewalk and things like that. But we have this spot here, typical, kind of smash. It's nothing special. I mean, nothing ordinary out of the ordinary there. But this is at a place called Sarah's Market, which is a local kind of shop, store, a liquor store in East LA, City Terrace area, in the area right there. And I don't remember. I think we visited that spot before. Really what they are is that even though they're like kind of a spot on themselves, they are really kind of a welcoming space to a lot of different pop-ups in that kind of community. And so they really contribute a lot as far as supporting that scene and the people who do that. So Mark was one of those, and there's so many others who have gone through there. But Sarah's Market is definitely a spot worth checking out too. So in addition to that, we also have seen and continue to see some swag. So you have his hats and the little koozie things. I don't know. I thought that was worth kind of mentioning too. But even though as simple as that menu is, we also see a little bit of deviation, I guess, some augmentation to the menu. Maybe not necessarily permanent, but just some early introductions and slight things. Not great. Here we go. Um, but this one particularly is the introduction, at least for me, to a chili burger. So this is a recipe. I'm pretty sure that was brought up and inspired by George Motes. It's a chili burger. You know, that recipe is probably something that he did, and so Mark kind of took that. Whoops. Took that and went and ran with that. So you have your typical Tripp burger, and then you kind of layer that with some chili. It's kind of a little heartier, kind of meatier chili. And then I think I just topped it off with some onion to make it pretty simple that way. But that was the use of chili burger. What we also see here is on here is the use of a chili sauce, and I mentioned earlier that of Calabama, and so she makes a her own hot sauce. So she bottles her own hot sauce, and that's something that's been used here. And so I think I have a picture there, right? Calabama hot sauce. So in addition to chili, as far as the meat, you also have this chili, like this hot sauce that you top on it as well. So it was an interesting combo, really nice. You get the heat of the chili, the meatiness of the chili, and of course the Tripp burger itself. So it was a nice, nice debut and kind of run on the menu. So I think this particular burger, or this time that I visited, this was out in Monkish Brewery out in the South Bay in Torrance, and I think I remember the next day I had gone back to Boomtown and I had it again, as most normal people would. But,
yeah, exactly. There's no problem there.
Right, no problems there. So yeah, I mean, it was again, it was just kind of a run, for the chili burger. So I, took my chances when I did, to make sure that I tried it. So it was good. I enjoyed it a lot. So what we also see, of course, around, so let's see, we're kind of moving forward towards like 2020, and of course around that year, of course, was a pretty significant year where we see the start of the pandemic, and a lot of people kind of having to rethink, I think, on how they deliver food or serve food, because people aren't eating indoors or really at all, at the restaurant. People have to think about ways to provide food, takeout and things like that. Again, it must have been a difficult time, for so many, businesses, brick and mortars, pop-ups, you name it. But Tripp was kind of one of those places that had to do the same. And in their case, let me see if I remember what I have here. They made kind of these packs that you picked up, you picked up, and you would just kind of have a Tripp burger to go. You order online, I think, you select what you want when you pick it up, and then they make the burgers. Again, the burgers are super simple, and then they just throw in these the small condiments that you put on there, and then your bag of chips, and that's kind of where that was, as simple as that. So that way you could still get your Tripp burger fix. But yeah, that was I remember you drive by their place, by the along the street, and then you see them set up there in the front yard, and with their grill and all that. And yeah, it was pretty, it was an interesting time, but it was an important way, of course, to support and continue to support the these operations, these small businesses, and and make sure they hang around as much as they can, so yeah. But as we move along, I think several months later, when there was some starting a guidance of like, where you can set up and, how you can serve people, in the public, you know, probably those guidelines weren't as strict, moving on. I mean, but we're still like, even during the height of the pandemic, they managed to make their way back to some breweries or like the sidewalk and things like that. So I think we see that, example here, like at back at LA Ale Works. I think this was a picture from there. This is a 4-stack, by the way. So again, this is the standard, right? We talked about that. This is the only way to, the only way
You can't order anything less.
That's
you
right.
specifically can't order anything less.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that, again, it was an interesting time. You pick up, even if they still served, outside to the public, I'd pick up my food, bring it back to the car, kind of tailgate a little bit. I don't know, just things like that. But that's kind of navigating again through the pandemic. But one thing I wanted to also kind of bring up, little collaboration. Again, as far as the menu goes, as simple as it is, we kind of see these additions and changes to kind of spruce up the menu a little bit. And this one in particular, I wanted to bring up. Mychall, I know we've had our share in dealings with barbecue, and one of the barbecue spots that we've enjoyed is the spot Smokey Jones Barbecue. Yet another pop-up, and we will take our time to talk about them very soon. But we wanted to bring them up here because they would be an example of like this kind of collaboration, this kind of dealing here between Mark and Russ in this case from Smokey Jones. So Russ prepared a pastrami tri-tip, and it's kind of a thinly sliced, kind of prep. And there was just kind of this idea to marry, a Tripp burger with Smokey Jones pastrami. Again, pastrami on a burger in LA is nothing new. And, we've seen that has a long, rich history, but this was just kind of their take on it. And, but we wanted to, I'm just kind of looking at some of these pictures here. Russ is here on the left. He's got his own, kind of flat top here with his pastrami. And, it also brings up some pics here with Jordan. We mentioned him earlier. So shout out again to Jordan, who is doing the main kind of grilling and smashing here. So, I mean, this was actually this particular, these pictures I'm looking at here, were from an album or from an event. I think it's like hosted by the LA Times. I don't remember. And it was part of this effort to like, for people to visit, local places and, different restaurants, and then also like watch certain movies or something that were being promoted or something, part of a certain lineup. So people would visit. And then, so these were one of the stops that were included in there. So, there was a good crowd that turned out that day. And so, you had the pastrami here being kind of, cooked here on the flat top. You have the burgers being smashed, and people were just coming through and just having their share of a Tripp burger with pastrami. Here's a little bit of the artwork. But yeah, that was a pretty interesting day too. It was pretty busy. Good day on the sidewalk. But yeah, that was something pretty cool. But yeah, that was pastrami. So, and we would see, more. I think we would see this kind of pairing, this a little more often afterwards. They would kind of do this a little more regularly. even after this event. So yeah, it was pretty good, pretty good time, and a nice, way of, these pop-ups and these, businesses to kind of support each other as well, So that was that's pretty awesome. Again, we'll talk about Smokey Jones soon, But the one of the other things I thought, was worth mentioning is at this point, I'd been taking a good amount of these, just pictures and just having fun and with it. And but I do want to thank Mark because, he really, I think he kind of saw what I was doing, whether for fun or otherwise, but I think he saw that there was like this, kind of something that I could do with this. And so he was nice enough to ask me to, take some photos for him, take pictures, in a legit way, like actual formal photo shooting and, with food styling and setup and things like that. And I'm like, are you talking to the right person? I don't know if you're confusing me with someone else here, but no, he was very nice to, invite me to do that. And so was very grateful to, at least just try it out, and see how it goes. And, it turns out that, we took a lot of good, pictures and, a lot that he's used and, and again, with a simple menu, I mean, you can't really go wrong. You got cheeseburgers, you got fried onion burgers with, your single to 4 stacks. So, I mean, that's really not much you can do outside of that. So thankfully you really can't go wrong in this case because the menu is so simple. So, yeah, that was pretty good. So thanks, Mark. Appreciate that. There's also, even though not directly related, what I'm reminded here is this picture here is uses the spatula called the Smashula, which is a George Mote's kind of product actually. So it's like his own kind of custom built spatula that you can order, and but obviously has like a very limited run, so you gotta just, I don't know, when it's there you gotta get it. So but that's the Smashula. That's probably his, the preferred tool of choice when making smash burgers. But yeah, I mean, you see here, see Mark kind of doing his thing. Again, it's so different. You know what era you're in when you see the masks, right? But here's an interesting one. This one's a pretty one. This is a 4 stack with fried onion. Man, that's something else.
That one's a thick one.
Yeah, very. So,
ooh, I'm in.
Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty good. Like I said, also, as far as, again, kind of adding variety to the menu, more recently there was a period of time where we saw the introduction of another type of style of burger, not a smash burger necessarily per se, but what we know as this green chili burger, this Hatch green chili burger. Again, this is a style of burger that is not new, but something mentioned by George Motes, and something kind of inspired to kind of put something together. So you have these green chilies, you have this this different cheese here. You have a thicker patty as well, still on this potato bun, but it's just more substantial. It's a different type of burger, and it's just more substantial. So that was cool. And then I have this other one here of this other burger, again, another kind of regional style of a burger called the Chester, which in its traditional form is a patty in a grilled cheese sandwich, basically.
Yeah.
So you can.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. So again, it's a thick patty. It's a larger patty, and then you have these toasted buns here. You remember the upside down? Remember those days?
That's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah. It definitely reminisced because obviously the toasted bun kind of inverted. the traditional, again, you would use like sliced bread, just regular sliced bread as a grilled cheese. But yeah, in this implementation,
Yeah.
so I don't remember, if this is still, if you're lucky, I mean, you could still see if you've ever visited them again, you could see if it's on the menu, if it's like off menu or whatever. But
What?
Yeah, it's something that you could see.
I was added this year. I'm so upset. I'm very upset. I haven't been to Tripp since pre-pandemic.
It's been a while, yeah.
So, and then I loved the upside down burger that BNSD did that they never brought back.
Kind of reminds you of that again, yeah.
Yeah. And this is still on their menu, like on their website at least. This is still on.
Oh, it's on there. Okay, well, yeah.
Yeah. So, I need to get out there before it goes away.
All right. Yeah.
Because it looks. And then it looks like in this picture you also have the pastrami with it too, huh?
Yeah. That was the day that Smokey Jones was there. So
that's a good day.
Yeah,
how did I miss this day?
So they were nice enough to kind of get me one of each, if you will.
God damn.
Yeah, I know. Every time we do these, it makes us hungry. It's yeah, and we have to make whether or not we've eaten, it doesn't matter. It's like we still get like these cravings, I guess.
Oh, hell yeah. Just looking at the pictures, it just looks so good.
Yeah.
I want it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, very interesting take to see where Mark has been, and Tripp has taken Tripp burgers too. I'm reminded here, I just wanted to bring up something going back a little bit. Again, I know I've mentioned him like several times already, but shout out to Jordan. So, again, he's still around. He's at LA Ale Works, so make sure you visit that guy and you say hello. But this day, I guess we were also preparing green chili, chili burgers. So, yeah, make sure if ever that's on the menu again, you should try that too. It's not too hot of a chili. I think traditionally, like, it is meant to be hotter, but this is kind of a milder flavor, but it's pretty good. But yeah, there he is on the grill, and yeah, that's as I am reminded as well. It's great to see how these places have kind of taken off. I think how they started and they kind of took off, and I don't know, consider ourselves kind of lucky to kind of see how that's kind of progressed and worked out for them, I think, and for us also to eat some of the the good food that they've made. So and I'm sure we'll continue to have. So yeah, I mean, this is another example of another good example of a good burger, either LA or anywhere really, so it's on a lot of the food lists that you'll probably come across. You'll see them there. Again, several of the videos and things that we'll share, you'll see them there too. You'll still find them, on the sidewalk at Palm Sepulveda and at the breweries as well, But yeah, it looks like they'll probably keep up with the the pop-up life for a while. But there's nothing wrong with that. Just keep if that's what they want to do, just keep supporting them, and it sounds like what the people wants.
As long as they come back my way sooner.
If they come back your way, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. But yeah, that's Tripp Burger. That's Mark, and so make sure you check him out. I got all the links that we'll have available there. Also, we talk a lot about Georgia Moats, so make sure you check him out too. Hopefully, he'll make his visit back to LA again sometime soon. But aside from that, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Mychall, thank you as well. I mean, they got any other thoughts, for us, or?
I'm glad that they have their version of the upside down.
Okay.
On the menu. Look, I'm really excited. What
we understand is the upside down.
Yes.
But as
it's slightly different.
Yeah.
Which is fine because I love grilled cheese. So grilled cheese plus a burger, I'm in. Right, and I didn't know that was on the menu until this.
Until this moment, really.
Yeah.
You were always full of surprises.
It's the only thing on my mind at the moment.
All right. Well, Mark, hopefully you hear this and hopefully set aside a West. They call it the Westchester for Mychall here. So
or like two or three.
Nice. Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us. We'll hope to bring you more episodes of our food adventures and, our important food groups. But
all burgers recently.
Yeah, exactly. But there's more to come. All right. So you'll find us streaming here on YouTube, and the audio will be available wherever fine podcasts are served. But until next time, I'm Angelo.
I'm Mychall.
And on your next food adventure, remember to try